There we go. Okay. So there, now it's being recorded for everyone for later. So, yeah. So one of the first things that I just want to just give a quick update on is that we have 44 teams and counting. So that's very exciting. I want to keep seeing that number grow. So keep encouraging friends, coworkers, you name it, to challenge them to sign up and participate, because that's where I'd really like to see more people. I know the talk's definitely going around. People are thinking about it. It's time to give that nudge to get them signed up, because it's hard to believe that in just a few short months, it'll be here. So it's very exciting. One of the things I want to start with is with Matt and talking about a little bit about the history of Night in a Car and some HSHM updates.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody, tonight. This is really exciting. It's always a good way to start the momentum going towards the event. I thought I'd just provide a little bit of Home Sweet Home history in addition to Night in a Car history for you. Maybe many of you saw the newspaper article from this past weekend, but there was a big article in the Panagraph that talked about how Home Sweet Home Ministries was founded 104 years ago in this community on Thanksgiving Day. And so we're just coming out of celebrating that anniversary and heading full steam towards Christmas, and then shortly thereafter, Night in a Car. And we have relied since our founding as an organization on community involvement and community support. That was true 104 years ago when we started, and that is still true today. In fact, the staff at Home Sweet Home, many of us today, talk about however many hundreds of volunteers we engaged just around Thanksgiving itself this year. And so we can't do the work of Home Sweet Home Ministries without people like you being part of it. And we are just so grateful for your involvement in the many ways, even beyond Night in a Car, that you support Home Sweet Home. But Night in a Car is really a perfect example of how so many people in the community come together to support and be part of the mission of Home Sweet Home Ministries. For the past 6 years, dozens and dozens of teams have joined and volunteered willingly to spend the night in their car in the middle of winter. It's just such an amazing thing to get to see so many willing spirits like what you have, the enthusiasm that you bring, the excitement that you bring to it. Many of you come back year after year after year to do this over and over again. I get paid to do it, right? All of you are volunteering to do it, which is just amazing to me, and I'm just so grateful for it. But I also want to make sure to emphasize that it's not just you who are involved in Night in a Car, right? Everybody who is supporting you through donations, through prayer, through encouraging messages on social media, they are involved in Night in a Car also. And so the reach, the number of people that we contact through this one event every year to help raise funds and raise awareness about the issue of homelessness in our community, it's such a wide reach that we get so excited about. In addition to you as participants and the people supporting you through their donations, we also have businesses and organizations that will provide sponsorships for the event. And this year we're really excited. We've got some really good sponsorships already lined up, with some more already that we expect to come on board in the next few weeks. In fact, already we have about $27,000 in sponsorships committed, and with that money already in hand. And so that is tremendous. That's a great jump start to the event. And yes, I will make automobile related puns throughout what I'm saying. I can't help myself, it seems like. And so we expect at least another $5,000 in sponsorships that we already are working on. But at this point, I want to let all of you know that we continue to look for sponsors. If you know people who might be willing to sponsor Night in a Car, they're maybe not willing to take the step that all of you are taking and sleeping in their cars or spending the night in your car, but they might be interested in sponsoring the event. please let Leslie know or let me know, and we will follow up with them and explain the benefits of sponsorship. It's all on the website, and so you can even point them to that as well. And so we are continuing to do that. We're really excited to be at Trinity Lutheran Church again this year as our home base for it. Last year taught us a whole lot, that people don't have to be in the same parking lot to do Night in a Car. And so we have teams already out of state who have committed and signed up. We have donors already donating from out of state, and we'll have cars all around town and in all of these different locations. We're really excited about what last year taught us, that we had to do out of necessity, taught us that we can really expand our reach that way. And so that's where I'll stop. And I just will stop by saying we really appreciate all of you, and thank you for joining the ride again on Night in a Car. I hope you find the rest of tonight's kickoff encouraging and full of useful information for you, whether you've done it before or if this is your first time doing it. We've got some tips and tricks that help surviving Night in a Car be more comfortable for you. So again, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you out there on February 4th.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate that. And now what we're going to do is kind of chat with a few past Night in a Car participants, and what has kind of talking about what Night in a Car has meant to me. And so I have Eric and Michelle and Debbie on here. And this time I'm going to start with Michelle from the Bookmobile Babes. And if you could just tell me a little bit about why you're doing this and why you support this.
Yes, and I would like to ask Colleen, my fellow babe, to hop on and talk too. But I do think that this is, I just every year just reflect so much on, our neighbors that that are having to sleep in their cars, and just put myself in their shoes, or their cars, or their coats. What do they have? And it just makes you more empathetic about what people are experiencing, and you don't know their story. It could be you. You're just one step away from some tragedy. And I think the pandemic really brought to light how fragile our existence is, whether our jobs are secure, and if they're necessary, if they are going to continue. You just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. And so you don't know the story of why someone's sleeping in their car, and you just want to be thoughtful. I think that that's what it does for me every year, is just to make me more aware of what people are having to go through.
Yeah, I'd add on to that it really does drive empathy in you just to have experienced that. I remember talking to Michelle and just saying, that was appropriately awful. Like they're as far as the getting together with the other participants, and just the whole camaraderie of it is wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling, but the actual sleeping part, is rough. And you wake up the next morning and you don't feel great. Mm-hmm. And you think about how people have to wake up the next morning and go about their day and try to find a job and, get on the computer and try to check their email and look for, and I got to go home and, take a nap, so I think that it really does drive and spark empathy in you. And if you can encourage others to jump on board with this, because that's something that you'll keep and you'll never forget,
right.
It's just one night, but the empathy that you gain from it is going to stick with you.
Yes.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Okay. And then I'm going to have Eric, talk about your experience. You're our sixth timer. You participated every year so far. So.
Well, first of all, great to be here. And thank you for all the work you do, Leslie, to get this organized. This is a lot of work. So thank you. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of doing this every year since the founding. And I can tell you the first year I signed up, I wasn't so sure this was a good idea. I thought, what in the world am I doing? I think I even joked then with the coordinating folks. I said, why aren't we doing this in like June? because I thought that was, would be a little more fun. But obviously the reason we're doing it in February is because when you're homeless, you can't choose the seasons you want to be homeless. It's what happens to you. So obviously that means it's going to be uncomfortable. And a little later, I'm going to share some tips and tricks that I've learned over the years of making mistakes as I've been sleeping in the car. But I will tell you this, that, and I like the term uncomfortable and the choices you make. It is something though that is impossible to simulate unless you do it. I mean, I thought I understood what it's like to be homeless. I thought I understood being uncomfortable, living in a beautiful house in the East Bloomington. No, I didn't understand it. I was very ignorant, I'll be honest. And spending that first night was a wake-up call for me. It really shocked me so much that one by one, I would have my kids join me. My spouse gave up way early, so I had to go to the kids who I was paying for college and had a great motivator for them. Well, each of them learned a lot from it as well, and frankly have shared with their friends what they've learned, and that is invaluable because you have to experience it. You really do. And when they said, how do you do it? I said, honestly, I'm so glad I did, because without it, I would lose that perspective that really one day is all I'm doing. The other 364 days, yes, I'm in a nice warm house. And that's important for us to understand, because our mission is human, not just financial. And we want to all thing, right, Matt? I'm not saying we don't do that. That is important. But the learning is also super important. So one thing that I've done, and I encourage all of you to do, whether it's your first time or your sixth time, be intentional about recording your experiences. Talk to your friends, sometimes Facebook Live, share what you're going through and your experiences, because I can tell you the next day, telling people what I did had such a different spin to it than if I had just thought about it, going, well, it's going to be cold. And, no, the next day it was very meaningful. And I know we've had debriefs in the past too that have been helpful. So for me, this has been something I would not miss. For me, it is an important reminder of how fortunate we all and blessed we all are. And a reminder for us to really, and for me, it to really work harder so that nobody has to do what we're choosing to do one night. And so how can we do that? I get that energy every morning when I defrost from the night in the car and realize, boy, I don't want anybody going through that. And so what can I do to help not let that happen? So that's my little story. A little later, I'll give you guys some helpful tips and tricks on how to survive your night. Leslie, I'll get back to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate you sharing too. And then last, for just kind of what Night in the Cars meant to me and talking a little bit more about how she fundraises, is our own Director of Client Services, Debbie Reze. So Debbie, jump on here.
All right. Thank you for having me. I want to first thank you all for starting this way back when, 6 years ago. Eric Haas, I was his pastor at the time, and he harassed me to the point that I said yes. And the reason I did is fundraising was not my first priority when I did the first one. The first one was to have the experience. And that was before I was working at Home Sweet Home. I already thought a lot about Home Sweet Home Ministry. I highly respected what they did. And I wanted to get a glimpse of what that was like to be homeless. And man, that first year just blew me away. Then I started working the next year. By the next year of Night in a Car, I was working at Home Sweet Home Ministries, and I was talking to one of our residents about what we were going to be doing. And I said, it's awful to just, I don't know how people do it. And he said, well, when I was sleeping in my car, I would save my money throughout the week so that I had a little bit of gas money, so that throughout the night I could turn on my car and warm up. And so I thought, oh, he can do it, I can do it. So I've done that occasionally, but there are people that can't turn on their car. And I look at my car, and it's a really nice car, and it doesn't have any broken windows. It doesn't have, it's well built. And I still get really cold. And Eric, I've seen you the morning after Night in the Car. You're a tired guy, dude. The sleep that you get, you know, I personally don't sleep that night. I'm too cold to sleep. And as Matt or Eric said, I'm only doing it for one night. I had other residents say, you know, they were joking with each other in my presence and saying, well, where have you lived? Well, I've lived in a dumpster. I've slept under a bridge. And they, you know, they were in the shelter, so they were warm, but my heart was breaking. So that's why I do it. I love our residents. I love them. And if I can spend one night being uncomfortable to help them, I'll do it. Yeah. Now, every year that morning after, I go, I am not doing this again. I am not doing this again. I don't care if I'm staff or not. I'm not doing it ever again. And then by the time it gets to be this time of year, I go, of course I'm doing it again. It's an awesome thing. So I'm glad we don't do this several times in the winter, because I would only do it once. So how do I fundraise? So today happens to be my birthday. And I thought, you know, Facebook puts all these things up there. If it's your birthday, you know, try to raise money for this. So I put on my Facebook page, my Night in the Car fundraising blip, hoping that I would raise some money and people would feel generous on my birthday. I don't know if that's happened. I haven't looked at it recently, but I will continue to have that on my Facebook page. And honestly, folks, I raise a lot of money doing that. And I give challenges. I said earlier that I'm a retired United Methodist pastor. So one year I challenged all of my churches that I had served, and I named them and named people in them and said, you know, my challenge is to have every one of the churches that I've served give something, or someone from that church give something. As a result, a couple of the churches that I served actually participated in Night in the Car where they were. And I've had other challenges too. And sometimes I just reach out to the individuals themselves and say, hey, I'm going to be freezing. Can you help me? I know that several have said, Deb, if we give enough, can you not sleep in your car? Well, no, that's not the way it works. But maybe if you give me $10,000, I won't sleep in my car. That's what I said. You know, I think that'd be okay, Matt, right? $10,000. I think that'd be fair. You know, and that's what I put on my Facebook
could talk
page.
if you do that.
I put on my Facebook page today. It says that my goal is 1,000, but it's really 10,000. But I'm going to take it 1,000 at a time. So, so I just challenge the people that I know on Facebook. If all of my friends gave something, you know, we'd do well, and it's really easy. You just go down to the bottom of the page, which Leslie helped me with this morning because I was being an idiot. I couldn't find it. And it's right there. And then all they have to do is push a button and donate. So it's really, really easy. You know, that I have friends that aren't on Facebook that I also hit up. But I'm not a person that likes to ask for money. I don't mind doing it because I know exactly where this money goes. And folks, our residents are worth it. They're so awesome. They are so awesome. And I could talk about them forever, but Leslie didn't give me permission to do that. So
Yeah.
I'll be quiet now. But anytime you want me to tell you about how awesome our people are, just ask me. I love to talk about it.
Yes, you sure do. And you have some great stories and success stories that you can always share too. So don't be afraid to reach out to Debbie for that. So that's great. Okay, well, one of the next things I have on my agenda is I have down here to talk about promotional materials, the Night in a Car website, our Facebook page, and things like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is just say, okay, I know you guys have all signed up as teams. You've been on nightinthecar.org, but have you really been on it? And have you looked around? Because definitely if you're not on our website, nightinthecar.org, under that about section right now, when you hover over that, there's a lot of different things coming up over there. Like there's participant instructions that'll come more towards when you get closer to the event to tell you more details of that exact night and what's going on. But then further down, there's one called promotional materials for participants. And you want to click on that because it's got a lot of great stuff, like including our logo. Maybe you don't know what you want to say on Facebook or other social media channels. I've provided examples of a script to kind of guide that along. Another big one that a lot of people are always like, oh, I missed out on that, is underneath that too, in that same section, have fundraising facts. So literally it says, $10 helps provide, a day's worth of meals at the shelter, and then other amounts too. And so like one popular one a lot of people are doing is raising, $1,000, and $1,000 provides 1 month of shelter and food and support for someone staying here at the shelter. So those fundraising facts are a lot of fun to use for people as well. So definitely be sure to be checking that out if you haven't. Also from Giving Tuesday, a few of you awesome participants helped us put together a few videos to help like why you participate in Night in the Car. I had our marketing specialist, Adam, help me out today to get those all up. That's all under the About section on the Night in the Car website as well. So that way you can go to there and share them if you can't just share them through your Facebook page or whatever, or if you want to share them other ways, that's out there for you too. So like I said, lots of great stuff out on there. And let's see. Oh, and then also underneath there too, some promotional materials that might help as you fundraise as well. Something that kind of kickstarted for us last year from a group that participated was bingo cards. And so we have some template bingo cards that you can fill in your own amounts, and maybe you post that on social media or send out an email, and you have someone and you write in your amounts, whether 5, 25, whatever. And those seem to go over really well too. So that's another fun way that you can, help support us too. And then also, of course, there's a frequently asked questions section on there as well. So if you have a question, check there first. And if not, of course, I'm always available to answer any questions that you might have or anything like that. And then let's see, going through my checklist. Okay, yes. And if you're not on our private Night in a Car Facebook group, you want to be, because especially during the evening, during that night, and then some special things coming up, that's how we'll communicate, because that's just for you participants. So if there's some information we need to give you, that's how we're going to reach out to you. So, and then, okay. One of the last things I'm just going to bring up is just as you start to collect donations here we are, it's just a few weeks before Christmas. Don't forget to take advantage of the Christmas season. So maybe this time, instead of asking for presents this year, you can ask for donations and support, and just do your best to have a little fun with it. Try to set up, like Debbie was saying, like different fun challenges for yourself. You can take it to the extreme and be like, okay guys, I'm spending the night in my car. If I want to wear my jacket, I got to raise this much. If I want to have an extra blanket, I want to raise this much. Just a fun idea for you to do that you can fundraise for yourself. So there's a few more extra things that I have for you. And then now I know, Eric, you've got a list of tips and best practices. So I'm throwing it back over to you to talk about that.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. And my experiences are from doing it every year, so I can tell you things that I learned that I wished I knew the night before. So I'm going to rattle through some best practices. One thing I want to mention on fundraising, Leslie, I know you alluded to this, but
Yeah.
All of us kind of think of fundraising as before the event. You're working it, but actually during the event is a great time to fundraise. Yeah. I got a lot of reach outs because I would post a Facebook Live and people were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what am I doing? So I assumed everybody must have known what I was doing. And I had donations coming in while I was freezing in my car. I don't know if they felt sorry for me or what. I put an icicle on like an eyebrow just to make it look bad. That was worth about $100. But as people were donating, stuff was coming in. And then after the event, I actually would post on Facebook, I survived picture. I don't know if everybody's disappointed or not, but point is, just encouraging people who didn't donate that, hey, there's still a chance to donate. So just a reminder that, donations during the event is actually a very powerful way, because people who are watching will suddenly see you out there and go, wow, what are you up to? And then maybe because you're doing it, they feel a little more empathy and will donate. So just something to keep in mind during the event as well. So Leslie, just want to tack that on to your stuff, another source of revenue, so to speak.
Yeah, good stuff.
I'll rattle through some tips here, and these are definitely not all of them, but I'll just hit some of the experiences I had. The first one that I learned early was that an air mattress in the back of like an SUV, which sounds like a great idea, is not such a great idea, because air mattresses collect the cold badly. I felt like I was sleeping on an ice block. I mean, at the time, it seemed like a cool idea. Air mattress in my nice warm house. I put it in the back of the car. Awesome. By the time we got there for that night, it was not pleasant. So what I learned quickly is that sofa cushions actually work great. They don't absorb the cold. They're softer even. And so every year I collect them from the family sofa and lay them in the back. And actually those, for me, work much better than an air mattress. Another thing that I learned early was that having a sleep mask is a good idea. You think that you're in the dark and it's like, well, heck, no problem. But at the church with the lighting and with people moving around, it was just constant barrage. So I even lowered the mask trying to cover my face. So a sleep mask or something like that, and even maybe earplugs would not be a bad idea. Because if you're used to a nice, quiet, dark bedroom, you're going to be in a loud, bright, cold room. And it could be just another impediment to sleeping. Another thing you're going to want is an ice scraper handy inside the car. And you're thinking, well, what in the world is that for? Well, assuming that you are breathing, which is an important part of this, you will be adding condensation inside your car. Often I'll crack the window to try and keep the circulation, but it might be cold and you're like, that's not a good. So make sure that you have a scraper because ironically, it will fill up in the back of your car. Obviously, don't forget hats, even a ski mask. One of the things I noticed early on is you'll wear a hat, but your face will get cold. And it's something you don't think about. I didn't, at least, till the first night I woke up at 2 a.m. and I couldn't feel my nose. I mean, it was literally frozen. I was afraid it was gone, in fact. So think about ski masks or something to cover your face more than just a hat. Again, hats are fine when you're outdoors for a little while, but when you're overnight, you definitely want to cover your whole face. You want to pack extra warm socks and gloves. Obviously, the hands and feet get cold sooner. They will be colder during the night than they start with. So you may be fine, but having an extra pair handy is not a bad thing. I get the oversized socks and I'll put those on. And boy, after I started putting those in, those were a godsend because after a few hours, you're like, this is not fun. You want to fully charge your phone before you go. And I would also suggest bringing a small flashlight. I was thinking I'd use my phone flashlight, but actually that obviously eats battery. And for me, having a little flashlight is helpful. Have a charged phone so that you can do your regular postings. And again, that's your chance to say live from my car. It will absolutely get attention from your friends, believe me. You want to have your stuff organized in bags. And that was also something I learned early. I would just bring it in one big pile. When it gets dark and you're trying to find stuff, it was all over the place. I mean, it looked like a closet exploded in my car. Anything. Whoops. And that sounds like
There you go.
there we go. Ironically, I say, hang on. I say explosion and the thing falls off. Isn't that funny? Hang on 1 second here. All right, I'm not going to touch anything now. Anyway, you absolutely want to have organizational bags or folders to find stuff. So small bags that you have things scattered will be great because then you'll know where everything is. In addition to a warm sleeping bag, bring layers of blankets. That is handy. The layers are nice because you can add or delete depending on how things are going. So for sure, don't be afraid to bring some extra blankets. You can always set them to the side or use them as padding on your cushions. We've talked about Facebook Live. That's a great opportunity. One last tip, and I think we've talked about this from a money standpoint, is never forget about the company matches that you can do. And Leslie, I know we've talked about that in the past. I work at State Farm and they have a match that you can actually file for. Many of the people that I have donating are State Farm people, and I'll regularly remind them, don't forget to put in the company match. What that's done for me over the last 5 years, my 6th year, I'm starting it up again, is in many ways doubled the donations I'm getting, especially from everyone with State Farm. And that has totaled in the thousands and thousands of dollars. So State Farm gladly does it. I mean, it's part of the company, but many other companies also do have company matches. So as you get donations, what I'll do is I'll send a thank you to the person after they donated, and then I'll have a standard line. If your company does a match, please consider applying for that and let me know, and then we can increase the donation. those matches really do pile up. So do think about that and don't be afraid to ask. You'd be surprised the people donating may be at a company that does do that match. So don't assume that they don't have that. And the worst case, you put it in there and they don't necessarily do it. But I've had many people I didn't realize worked at companies that matching going, oh, sure, I'll put that in. And then there's a match. So absolutely take care of that as well. I think those are the main tips and tricks. One of the nice things is the church has snackage and drinks in there. You can, of course, have that in your vehicle as well. But I like to get out of the car now and then and walk over because it gets you stretch your legs a little bit. I'm 6'1", so even in the biggest SUV, it's not exactly easy for me. So I like to get out and stretch, but that obviously is a great way to connect with people inside, and the church does a great welcoming job as well. Yeah. So those are some common sense tips. I hope a lot of them make sense, but from my experiences, having this all planned really makes for a better evening and a better night. Won't make it super comfortable, but it'll help.
Yeah.
Leslie, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, great. And just on the side chat, I just wanted to point out, we had a few people asking questions for you, Eric. What are some of the supplies that you have in your bags? We have some people saying like hand warmers and other things like that, but is there anything else that you have in your bags that might be important for people to know?
Good, very good question. Yes, I do in the winter. So I had those handy, and I enjoy the evening better because there's no team losing that night. So anyway, I do have those warmers. That's absolutely one thing right off the bat. I also have spare gloves and also socks in one bag, so I can get to that to retrieve that. I also have a bag that has some snacks, that has a couple of things to eat, and to be able to have a few small drinks in there. Water mostly, just to be able to drink. Obviously, one negative of having a lot of water is that you have to go use the bathroom. At a point in the night, it's cold. You're like, I really don't want to get up. I yelled at Matt one time next door saying, I'll give you $20 if you go to the bathroom for me, but he didn't go. I had to get up myself. So I think the snackage in one container is also a very handy thing to have. But having those, and then flashlight, and having my phone. I don't have a charger with me because, again, I fully charged my phone, but that's another bag. So I've got them in just quadrants, and I know where to get them and put them away. It helps so you don't lose it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for answering that question. We
Yep.
appreciate it. And now it's coming back to me, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a way to keep the excitement and momentum going for all you participants, and talk about some incentives that we have coming up. And essentially, we have developed sorry, I'm changing my view here real quick. Here we go. An honorary recognition award system. So as you kind of achieve some certain milestones, we're going to be giving you guys special shout outs on our Facebook group with Night in a Car. And so we'll be giving some awards for some other certain fun categories too, not just fundraising in your future, but we're not there just yet, but just to kind of give you ideas. And we've already got 13 teams already have achieved this and beyond. But when you've reached $250 in fundraising, you have won the Pace Car Award. And as we go along different levels, I have different awards. So be sure to be following Facebook and check that out. I'll have one of the first award posts going out here shortly right after this meeting. So stay tuned for that, and have fun achieving those milestones and those little shout outs that we're going to give you. Just a little extra recognition to keep that momentum and keep you pumped. And we really appreciate you doing what you guys are doing for us. So it's just really amazing. And so, I mean, that's what I have. I don't know if there's anyone that wants to jump on here, if they have anything else they want to add. If not, I can kind of open it up here for any questions that you might have that we can answer for you. Or does anyone have anything else they want to add or say? Okay. Well, I'm not seeing too many people jumping.
Leslie, I see that Jennifer talked about being homeless in Arizona. That's a whole nother thing to be really, really hot.
That wasn't fun.
Yeah, so that, that's something. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. And this will be a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Except this time it'll be voluntary.
Yeah.
I also want to add that people don't have to be local to participate. If they want to sign up and they live in Arizona, and they want to participate, or Germany or wherever they live, if they want to participate, they can and raise money for Home Sweet Home.
Yeah. Yeah. They sure can. They sure can. So,
I had a question.
yeah.
How do we join the specific Facebook group thing?
Yeah. Well, it is a private group, but I think you can search it publicly. So I think if you search Night in a Car 2022, you should be able to find it and ask to join, and I'll get you signed in. If you have any troubles in getting in still, just let me know and shoot me an email, and I will make sure you get into the group.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
One other thing that I had questions. I've had people who are nervous about donating through Facebook or through any kind of online. And they told me that. They were like, "Oh, they're afraid they're going to get their name on the list, or stuff's going to get stolen, the credit card." Though I feel it's very safe personally. What I did then is I arranged to receive checks from them. So don't be afraid that if people are giving you hesitancy that you don't offer alternatives, because for some, they don't like the idea of donating online or risking something happening to their card. So that's happened to me. And then I've actually been able to go on and bring the check into the office. So just bear that in mind as you're asking for money. If somebody seems hesitant, don't force them down that path. If they don't really want it, you can take the money, and Leslie will very happily take it and apply it to your total, right? So you don't have to worry about that.
Yep, that's sure. I mean, in a way, that's how a lot of our sponsors are doing it. They're sending us in checks, and then I can go in on the back end of the website and get those offline donations added in, so the totals can stay current. So yeah, if someone wants to, do it by cash or check, just keep track of who it's from and whatnot, and send it my way, and we'll get it to, onto your team and stuff like that. So it's not a problem at all.
Related to that, I'll just piggyback off of that thought, Eric. I use Venmo with family and some close friends. And so if people are comfortable sending you their donations, then all you would have to do is write a check or make the donation in whatever manner you want, and list their names if you want us to be able to track your donors in that way. And so that, thinking creatively is a big part of how we continue to help this event grow. And so as we look at these apps that exist now that make it more direct to transfer money between people, something like Venmo might be an opportunity for some people to support you.
I also want to say that although I do most of my fundraising through Facebook, today I talked to Leslie about trying LinkedIn. I don't know if that's going to do anything. I am on LinkedIn, but I never use it. So I put our stuff on LinkedIn. We'll see if I get anything. I just checked and I have nothing for my birthday.
I'm just curious, how many teams are you up to right now?
We're at 44 teams, and I know there's still a lot of talk about more teams signing up. Michelle, just on a note, Desiree did reach out to me, and they are working on creating teams. They're just in the middle of some busy stuff, but she's going to get back to me next week. So we're going to have more teams coming from there too. So very exciting.
That's cool. Thank you.
I got a question. How many cars per team? I mean, is there an allotment? We have, I'm Lynn Shook. I'm the principal at Stevenson Elementary, and we have several teachers that are getting involved. And I think the more we get going, the more we'll get. But I don't know if we're all sleeping in the same car. Or are we supposed to bring our own? What's the
We've never had a school bus at the event. I'm just going to say that.
We have Connect Transit bus, but not a school bus.
Ooh. Now you've thrown down the gauntlet a little bit.
Yeah,
but we have male teachers and female teachers, and I mean, is it okay if we're all in separate cars? Or
there's no real hard cap on the number of cars per team. A lot of times when teams grow a lot, it is helpful to split them into different teams to spread the fundraising reach even more. Team that you want to form if you get enough of your teachers and folks interested in participating.
Okay, I appreciate that. This is the first year we've participated in it. We're really excited.
Yeah.
We have students in our building who are homeless. And we work with Home Sweet Home Ministries a lot with our students. And we can't wait to share that. I love that idea of live. We've got a lot of young tech savvy people on my team. So,
the teams and action between your different teachers or the fundraiser.
thank you.
I happen to like being in my car by myself simply because if I can sleep, I can sleep. If I can't, then I can listen to music or whatever. But that may just be me. A lot of people do have other people. So for you.
Do folks
To hear the ideas that people are using for fundraising.
that I will you know, the fun is important. So is justice in to normal and or whatever.
It sounded like
There she is. She's back. You're muted though, Leslie.
There we go. Ha. Okay,
Well,
I'm back. Hopefully you guys were carrying on without me. It seems like it was still recording and everything, so that's good. Just my connection just decided to poof. So, so, okay.
Hey, Leslie, one thing I don't know if we've talked about is there may be people who are uncomfortable because of COVID or other reasons not coming to the event. And I know last year we had people who were at home in their garages or driveways or whatever and called in. So assuming we're still encouraging or making that an option for people who are uncomfortable. Is that?
Yep, we sure are kind of saying drive in to Trinity Lutheran Church or Zoom in, and you can do that from the convenience of your own driveway or, anywhere else or however you want to do it. So, and like, as usual, like we're hoping to bring, and for those at the church, we're hoping to bring an educational activity inside the church that night and then sending you out to your cars again. Just for a little something more. And then for those that are, going to be doing it virtually, we'll have that event live streamed, and then we'll still have all materials that we do for the night available online. So you can kind of take it at your own pace and do what you want to do. Because some people love that option and have those materials available. And some just are there to just experience what it's like and do that. So we'll have all those options available, and it's going to be great.
the live stream will be a secure live stream.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, doing my best. That's why maybe not as many people are on here tonight because I didn't put this meeting out as publicly. You were a participant, you got the email. That's how this worked, and it's worked seamlessly besides me, just my connection going boop. But that's good. That's good. So we've made improvements.
And Leslie, last year I did it in my driveway.
Yeah.
And I thought, I bet my neighbors think I am nuts here, sitting in my car in my own driveway. And so I thought, if I do that again, I'm either going to put signs in my windows or give the message to my neighbors to say, hey, if you want to join me, back your cars out of the garage and we'll wave at each other. So I think I'm going to come to Trinity this year, but if I end up being at home, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And if anything, I mean, that it's the at-home option is a great opportunity for maybe families, especially if you have younger kids and you're like, I don't know if we can do the whole night, guys. And that's fine. We want you to kind of get that experience. And then if after a couple hours you need to go inside with your little ones, that's fine. It's just a great way to get conversations started. And I know a lot of people enjoyed that factor, especially if they ran into a big hiccup with the kids and just whining or something like that. But it's a great way to still create that awareness, get that conversation going, and still experience it and still support us. So yeah.
And Colleen will be doing a story time for the kids to do with homelessness.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's always great. We love it. So, okay. Well, okay. Well, I think that does us. I mean, unless anyone else has anything else, I just really appreciate you all hopping on here tonight. I hope you learned a few things and got a few things to take away from it. And then my thing I'm going to leave you with is that, yes, we're at 44 teams and counting. And like I said, encourage those family and friends to donate. If they want to donate, see if they want to participate and try and get your neighbors and coworkers involved and maybe create a friendly competition, because I'd like to see our numbers grow and help getting that message out there for us. So hopefully you were inspired. So fasten those seatbelts and start those engines and have fun with Night in a Car. So everyone have a
Thank
great
you.
night, okay? And if
Great
you need
night.
anything,
Thanks,
I'm always
folks.
here to help.
Wonderful meeting.
Thank you.
Take it easy, y'all.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good job, by the way.
Thank you.
I thought it went well. We hit all the key marks and
Yeah.
I think it was awesome.
Yep.
Yep.
Good stuff. Good
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
Thanks for helping.
Yep,
Yes.
and we're all set for
appreciated
next week's meeting too, Matt. Thanks for setting that up.
Yep.
So we'll go
Alright.
from there.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
it.
Bye-bye.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.